Hello everyone, welcome back to the All-State Preparation series that I am doing specifically for the state of New Jersey because that is the material that I will be demonstrating in terms of playing. For those who haven't watched my previous video, I am Mateo Johnson. I am a musician, multi-instrumentalist, primarily a percussionist. I am currently studying at the University of Maryland for percussion performance and adding a double major in music education. I am making this series to help people prepare for these upcoming honors band auditions, whether it be regions or all-state. Yeah, I will be basically in this part. Last time I made a video basically on how to prepare for an audition and getting to the audition place and how to have a successful outcome. In these videos, I will be demonstrating these traps excerpts that you will have to play for the New Jersey All-State in 2024 and years on. They've kept these for years and years and years, and usually stays the same. I don't think they're going to change it anytime soon, at least. But yeah, I'll be basically demonstrating each and every one of these, and I will do a separate video for each of them. There's triangle, bass drum, crash cymbals, and tambourine. This video will be primarily the triangle. Before I start, I would like to reference a few things that the judges are specifically looking for that I personally found through studying like my scores in auditions. And, I was just observing, usually judges are going to look for accuracy of the notes, accuracy of the dynamics and the changes, and also a sense of musicality and understanding that. However, you don't want to overboard that, where it's to the point where it's like nowhere close to how it's written and the different contrasts that are written on the page. You don't want to overdo it by yourself. You do want to stick to what is written. But yeah, I will basically start with the triangle, and I will give my tips on everything and how I play these, and in order for them to come out accurate to the judge panel, because this is a blind audition. They are only listening, so you want to make sure that it sounds as best as possible and it meets their standards. But yeah, I will play the triangle excerpt, and I will first play it, and then afterwards I will break it down and kind of just explain the tactics that I use to make it sound good for the judges. But yeah, I'll get into playing it, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, so now that we demonstrated this, it starts off with a really big roll, fortissimo roll. You want to throw your beater, kind of just have a nice attack. You want to throw your beater right into the bottom of the triangle, which is what I like to do. So just a nice attack. And you want to make sure you have a strong start, but pretty simple. You just want to roll through that. Now, you can choose how to approach this. I mean, either way is fine. Whether on this rest to mute it, like a slight mute, or you just let it ring a little bit. What I like to do, I kind of slightly place my finger on it so it doesn't ring too much to where the rhythm's unclear, but it kind of just creates a little bit of an articulation in the rhythm. Helps you hear it a little bit more, and just because there's no like overtones ringing into that rhythm. Now, this is the trickiest part, in my opinion, of this excerpt, is these little piano rolls right here. That little passage right there. Yeah, it's not fun. Now, the judges will want to look for that you can, do a triangle roll at a low dynamic. And my way of showing the judges that I can have that good hand speed in a piano roll on a triangle is by articulating the roll by, again, I place 2 fingers kind of just over it to give it a mute, and then I let go on the 2E end and 4E end. So what I'll do is on beat 1, I will mute, but I will let it go. I let the roll go on the end of 1, and the other roll, I let it go on the end of 3. So 1 N, 1 N, 1 N. I don't go all the way to the note just because it's a little strange to. It's also not tied into each other. So I just do a little 1 lift. So yeah, release the roll on the end of the beat, and on that end is where you want to take your finger off and go play your 2E end, and then mute again and let go on the end, and then just play the rest of your rhythm. And then at the end of that measure, you want to mute the ba 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 ba. You want to mute, and then you have this phrase that's very staccato. Now for this, I kind of go to the side of the triangle just to give it a little bit of a different tone, a different contrast to what I was just playing. It just creates a nice difference, a little bit of a different tone. And since you're changing dynamic, it also helps that come out a little bit more rather than coming from the corner. It being a little bit difficult to notice that dynamic change, and just coming to the side creates a nice little change in tone and dynamic. Now on the staccato notes, you will obviously want to mute it. More than you were muting it in the previous measures, you actually want to have a nice grasp, because it's very tick tick da, tick 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 da, whereas the other notes we were muting was only a light touch just to give some more articulation. But these are really articulate and staccato, and you want to make that clear. So you want to go to that phrase, let it ring, and then I slightly mute with my fingers again, going into this piano to forte roll. Just slightly mute. Slightly mute. Sorry, that was bad, but slightly mute. Because it helps you get down to that piano with not as much ringing, so you can hear the start of that roll, and you just want to go get to that loud volume, and then right at that little forte hit, that release, you want to mute, and then just a very light touch for that last piano. Now my suggestion is, even though it's technically supposed to be the same dynamic as this and that start of the roll, I like to make it a little less than every dynamic you played, just to really show a big contrast from that forte to that piano. Because a nice little ending, you don't want to like just beat into the triangle for that. You just kind of, you want to lightly touch. So obviously I was a little late and I dragged a little bit, but just a light touch, and that's all you need, and you're just going to hold it there to show that you let it ring, and then come down with it. So yeah, I mean, those are mainly the tactics that I use for the triangle, and it's all just stuff to make these things come out a little bit more and be a little bit more articulate to the judges who are listening to you. Feel free to comment any questions or concerns about this one. It's a very hard excerpt, especially for, I feel like, an honors band audition. You wouldn't be typically playing this challenging of stuff. I mean, there's professional orchestra triangle parts that are easier than this, and I guess they want to see your skills with the triangle, but this is really difficult. So if you guys have any questions or misunderstanding, if I'm just not saying something right, just feel free to comment any questions or concerns. But yeah, I mean, that's how I play it, and that's how I approach it. And yeah, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video to discuss the bass drum excerpt. Thanks, and God bless.